The victory horns are back, ladies and gentlemen, on this Saturday night, and they sound for, I was going to say the miracle, but on the broadcast tonight, apparently Lerone Murphy wants to be called the Iceman now, as he defeats Edson Barboza. Just a lopsided, one-sided performance from Lerone Murphy, and he picks up the biggest win of his career against the longtime veteran Edson Barboza. As we welcome you to the UFC Vegas 92 post-fight show here at MMAfighting.com. We're back, everybody. I am Mike Heck. New York Rick, back once again. Man, I feel like I literally just talked to you 25 minutes ago.
It's been so long, Mike. I haven't seen your face. I'm so happy to see it, though.
Yes. I was like, how am I going to look different? So I just turned the hat backwards. That's literally the only change I have made here.
Nice move.
Yes. Look, there's not a lot of pomp and circumstance and pageantry when you're in the world's most famous Apex and you're like an hour and 15 minutes removed from discussing Alexander Usyk beating Tyson Fury in one of the best heavyweight fights ever in the boxing world. But Lerone Murphy did the damn thing tonight, New York Rick. He beat the hell out of Edson Barboza. There was a wicked scary moment in the first round, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it for Lerone Murphy, but man, he showed up. A lot of people thought Edson Barboza was the darling dog this week, and Lerone Murphy was like, nope, not today. What did you make of his performance tonight?
Impressive. I will say, admittedly, like, I'm getting a little worried about how many beatings like Edson Barboza has been taking, like even against Sadiq Youssef, where he was able to pull that out and look great for the final 4 rounds. Like, he took a hellacious ass whooping in the first round, and it's just starting to pile up. Like, there's becoming more and more of the times that I'm looking at Edson Barboza with his face battered. That said, Edson Barboza is still a tough out and still can pose a lot of problems for a lot of people in the division. And so Lerone Murphy pretty much cruising, to me, was impressive. Like, he mixed the martial arts extremely well. His grappling and striking were both on point, giving Edson Barboza really different looks and winning the striking exchanges against a guy who's one of the higher level strikers that we've seen. So impressive. Like, time to be ranked and time to start talking about him as somebody who's going to face some really difficult competition now and has a potential championship road ahead of him. So I was impressed. Lerone looked great.
For those wondering what the statistics look like, Lerone Murphy outlands Edson Barboza in the significant strike totals, 220 to 79 in, to New York Rick's point, 172 of those significant strikes to the head. That's a lot, man. That is a lot. Those are really starting to add up.
Yeah, Barboza's getting up there, and it's just like, if you're not going to make a real run, like what's left? And I don't know if it's fighting the Lerone Murphys of the world anymore. Like, I'd almost rather see Barboza in some like fun scraps that aren't necessarily against guys who we think can really be future prospects or prospects that can be a future contender. So not my ideal situation, but at the same time, this is kind of the MMA ecosystem, right? We need a win over Barboza for Lerone Murphy to say, hey, I'm legit. You need to take me seriously. So I get it. Business was done here tonight, and Lerone Murphy is ready to take the next step and looked like a guy ready to take the next step.
Yeah, Casey has a really good suggestion for Edson Barboza next, and I kind of like it, and we'll discuss that in a little bit when he comes on. But first round got a little weird, New York Rick. Lerone was looking super good. He's just kind of busting up Edson Barboza. That jab, it seemed like he had a 97-inch reach. The way he was landing that jab is super impressive watching him work. And he's got Barboza on his back. Round's about to end. And then Edson Barboza lands one of the most hellacious up kicks you will ever see. And I got to tell you, New York Rick, I thought he knocked him out. I thought when the round ended and the referee was trying to get Barboza's legs untangled and Murphy was trying to stand, I thought he knocked him out. I was like, oh my God, he just knocked him out by up kick. But then Murphy sort of wandered back to his corner. How close did you think that was? Did you have the same reaction? But because a lot of people kind of missed the up kick as well.
No, I thought it was dire circumstances. I thought he was I thought he was out of it, right? I was about to say something that I don't want to say. I thought he was out of it. And I thought it was interesting in the post fight that Lerone Murphy said that he didn't know what hit him, which is unsurprising, right? You're not expecting in that position to be hit by up kick. They're very like low percentage kind of opportunities. We very rarely see them land effectively, but that one was flush, and he did not see it coming, and so that's danger. That's a really bad spot to be in. So I was like you, thinking, okay, this could have shifted the momentum of the fight, but then as soon as round two started, Murphy was right back to dominating it again.
Yeah, it was just a great performance, and now, not. I mean, he had his post fight interview. It's good stuff. Just Edson's a legend. I don't know what hit me. Want to fight in Manchester, but no call out after a win over Edson Barboza. And I know you and I look at the call outs a little bit different. Edson Barboza didn't call it Max. I mean, Lerone Murphy didn't call it Max Holloway, so he didn't pull a Joaquin Buckley. So I respect that and much appreciate that. But was it a miss that he didn't call somebody out, or do you feel like the performance was good enough? There's a locational thing a la Buckley that he has the opportunity to get on a card that he just wants to be on. Is this okay that he didn't call anybody out, I guess, is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
ask
that's
you.
where I fall is I think Manchester's the call out, right? I think if you're just voicing, hey, if there's an opportunity, put me on that card and I'll essentially take on anybody. I think that's probably the route. That's probably the win. Just expressing your interest in that. We'll see. Like to the point that I said he dominated, his face was pretty busted up as well. Like you go through a fight with Edson Barboza, like he's still an effective striker and somebody who can do a lot of damage. And I'm sure his legs aren't feeling too great. So we'll see if he can make it to Manchester. That's quite a quick turnaround for somebody who's just been in a 5-round fight with Edson Barboza. But if he can, I think that's the right spot, right? Like you have to imagine that if he was in Manchester, he'd get a hero's welcome. So if he can make it, if he can heal up and rest up, and the commission doesn't suspend him too long, although I don't know if the UK acknowledges the US ones, I would imagine that they try to put him on it if he's healthy enough.
Any fight stand out to you for Lerone Murphy, or does it
as an opponent?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, let me look at the rankings real quick because I assume that he's now going to be ranked. So let's see. What about you? What are you thinking?
I mean, my first thought is Calvin Kattar.
That's
I don't know if
interesting.
that's like too soon. I don't know if that's like too soon for Kattar to turn around, because I mean, Manchester's coming up, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have to turn around quick. Barboza was 12 in the UFC rankings. Kattar's 10. Giga's booked for that card, right? Or what? Giga's booked for something.
He's fighting Arnold Allen on that card.
Yeah, so that's out. Yeah, Josh, it seems Emmett? Like
that's fun.
Emmett's kind of the one that's floating out there that might not necessarily. Obviously, I mean, Movsar Evloev, maybe. I don't know what we do. That's a little high. I mean, yeah, it's tough. I think this is one of those that if you're going to put him on Manchester, it probably won't be somebody ranked. I think he would probably have to forego the opportunity and go against somebody to get on the Manchester card. Or you say, hey, I'm really banged up. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'll do what's smart for my career. I'll take a ranked opponent and just, we'll forego Manchester, get to enjoy it, sit as a fan, and then get a ranked opponent in the next one. If he's healthy, I imagine he'll probably take the Manchester opportunity, but we'll see. But there's not a lot of ranked names that really could jump in there that quick.
I dig, man, him and like Nate Landwehr in Manchester would be friggin' awesome.
That'd be fun.
Nate will take that fight. It'd be the best.
And Nate would definitely go into enemy territory and get the crowd riled up. So I'm into it.
Yeah. We have bonuses, gentlemen. We have bonuses. Anybody want to take a guess?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at it. Chaos Williams for sure, right? Come on.
Yes.
Okay. Did Yanez get it?
No, he did not.
I'm not surprised. It's like a 50-50 on that one because it was a TKO as opposed to a cold one. Maybe Angela Hill. Did she get one for the sub?
Casey, get the horns ready. She did. Angela Hill.
Yeah. Congratulations to Angela for that. That's great. First sub. First finish. Love that.
First submission win of her career. That's so freaking crazy. And then the main event was the fight of the night.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I feel like they probably could have given performances for, like, was that like that great a back and forth kind of fight? All right, whatever. I'm not
I
too
mean, there
mad about
weren't
it,
like
but it does feel
there weren't
weird.
a ton of finishes. Like Adrian got one. Tom
Yeah,
Nolan
you
had a
could have
pretty nice one.
Nolan, especially because he was rocked and then he turns it around. Like I feel like that and Yanez would have been worthy of it. That's a little bit weird. I mean, look, it's hard to get like super upset about any of it.
Yeah. So that's fine. That'll do. Yeah, we had a little. This is just like a weird card because I'm trying to like. I have the TV on. I'm watching obviously Furious. It gets the TV treatment, and then on the laptop, I'm watching the UFC card. So like in between rounds, I'm kind of peeking over, and it seemed like every time I peeked over, things I didn't expect to happen happened. Like a disqualification for an intentional headbutt, multiple intentional headbutts, by the way. Abu Smagomedov, now a wrestler and a grappler and a grinder. I was not ready for that. And then I looked over again, and Melissa Gatto lands a punch to the chest that ends up being a TKO. It was just a super weird card, New York Rick, in a lot of respects. Like I don't think any of us expected to go back and rewatch this one, but because of the weirdness, there is a part of me that kind of wants to go back and rewatch the prelims because of all the craziness that happened.
Yeah, Angela Hill's out here pulling off submissions. Like it was
Yes.
the day of the wacky outcomes here at UFC Vegas 92. But yeah, it did have a little bit of a like stilted kind of feeling in the beginning, and or stunted maybe is the word I'm looking for, feeling in the beginning, and then once the main card got rolling, like it kind of picked up and went relatively fast. There were a few finishes there. And the main event like had some intrigue, even though it wasn't necessarily like a war. Murphy was impressive, and it was pretty good, so not bad.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the peeps in a second. Chaos Williams knocks out Carlson Harris in 90 seconds. Didn't expect Carlson Harris to go out there and just kind of brawl with Chaos Williams, but uh, respect, I guess, to
That
go
is
out
not
there.
the path to victory against Chaos Williams, because that dude hits like a goddamn truck. Like that is the exact opposite of what you want to do against that guy. But if you do it, it's going to be good for us. We're going to get to see a knockout. So congratulations on that one for Chaos.
And boy, did we. And boy, did we need it after watching Temba Garimbo beat Ramiz Brahimaj. And
Yeah.
boy, just kind of an all-time stinker. But to Garimbo's credit, he sort of admitted as such, apologized to people for a pretty awful fight, and that it was. Adrian Yanez back in the win column, looked real good against Venetia Salvador, did what he was supposed to do. Mentioned Angela Hill just coming out here finishing people. Finishes Luana Pinheiro. I think she's going to be a top 10 fighter now at 115 pounds at 39 years of age. Good for her. Tom Nolan looked a little dicey early on, but comes back and lands a big knee, gets a big finish. He is a gigantic lightweight. Omar Sy gets a quick win over Tuco Tokos, for fellow in a battle of newcomers. We talked about Melissa Gatto. Abu Smagomedov back in the win column. Ariane Canarolosi wins a DQ. Right call, right? I mean, there were people on Twitter
Yes.
that were trying to argue with me that,
Oh no.
oh, come on,
Get
stop
outta
being
here.
a Nancy. It's a fight. Are you shitting me? Come on.
No,
It's
get entirely the F out of here with that. Like very intentional headbutt. If not, like there's if that is not a DQ, there is no circumstance where a DQ even exists. If that is not a DQ, that is textbook definition of a DQ. Doing a move that first of all, do one, get warned for it, and then do it again with the exact same intensity and trying to skate by on it. Like, come on. Like, easiest call ever. Very understandable DQ.
yeah, and this notion that Ariana Carlosi quit, she gave up, all this stuff. Like, get the F out of here, dude. Like, just get the F out
Well,
of here.
I mean, people can like litigate the idea of like, oh, somebody milked it or look for a way out or whatever. Like, that's fine. You can do that. I don't tend to like traffic in that, and I'll leave that to you. But the should it be a DQ or not is objectively not a debate. That part of
Yeah.
it, I am extremely comfortable with, regardless of what her reaction to it was.
If they did not call that a DQ, this would be a much different post-fight show. I can tell you that right now. Alatang Haley gets win, and Vanessa Demopoulos just keeps finding ways to get two of the three judges to score a fight for her, as she did against Cody. I didn't think she won this fight, but I gotta say, as someone who saw an opportunity to place a wager on a fight tonight. This is the only bet I made on the entirety of the weekend was Vanessa Demopoulos at plus 300, and I hit it. So
Wow.
thank you, Vanessa Demopoulos. Even though I totally didn't think she won that fight, but we'll
Yeah,
take it.
it seemed like popular opinion was that Dakota won that fight, but shout out to you. Congratulations.
Yeah, I just felt like the line was a little too wide, so take a little stabber. Casey, come on in. Come on in.
Hi.
What did we? What? Tell the people what you suggested for Edson Barboza's next fight.
Edson Barboza, who has now 30 UFC walks for his next fight.
Holy is that for real? Wow,
Yep,
that's
he has
crazy.
30 UFC. Not all at featherweight, obviously split between lightweight and featherweight. But now he will fight other 30-fight UFC veteran Alex Caceres.
I like that.
A lot.
Wow, Alex Caceres has 32. Oh my god, this is crazy stuff.
And they're both kind of,
Holy
but even more than that, because for the pre-fight, I think for the last week card, I was talking about Caceres being kind of this gatekeeper. You have to beat Caceres to be kind of considered a top 15 guy. And then earlier we kind of talked about Barboza being kind of a gatekeeper to be a kind of a top 10 guy, top 15, top 10. So they're actually kind of in the same place. And even if you look at their featherweight, kind of how they've done at featherweight, I mean, Barboza got whooped up by Giga. Alex Caceres fought a competitive decision loss against Giga. I mean, like, I don't know. I think Barboza's he's not in the title run anymore. Now it's just let's put him in fights that are interest. If he wants to continue fighting, the UFC wants to continue paying him. I think this is kind of the fights we do for Barboza, and I just think it's a fun fight. It's a fight. I was like, oh, I never thought about it, but it kind of makes sense. So I don't know. I don't know what's next for Barboza, because I think a lot depends on what he wants. But if he is going to continue to fight, yeah, I like that fight a lot.
I like that fight too. I'm totally down for it. I wouldn't mind Barboza just being a lightweight. Like, I'm also like kind of okay with the idea of just like, why continue to, like, he's a big dude, got a big frame. Like, I could see him moving up a little bit and just having fights where he doesn't have to cut as much. Yeah. At the same time, totally down. That would be a super fun fight. And also it's not going to be a main event, right? So we're looking at a 3-round fight, which is great. Like, that's perfect. That's exactly the lane he should be in. So I'm totally down for that fight. I wouldn't mind if he goes up either.
Yeah. I kind of would like him to go up, but if he's happy at 45, do it. And also on that same note, someone mentioned here too, we were talking about opponent for Lerone Murphy. Why not give him Sean Woodson? Maybe someone who's right outside top 15.
Oh,
I know
that's
it's
not bad.
I mean, he's right there. Unless he's injured, he's right there. It could be an exciting stand-up fight. Because, we said it's kind of hard for him to get a ranked fighter. He gets him on the card. I don't know. So just on
that's one of those that both guys are kind of angling for a ranking. Why not? Like, winner of this kind of makes that jump. I'm down for that. If Woodson wants to turn around and go to enemy territory in Manchester, down.
Yeah. I mean, he should. He just fought in his home, in his hometown.
Yeah, that's right. Else. Good call.
So,
all right.
Let me see what questions we got here.
Of course, Super Chatter's got the line, so feel free. Talking to you, Achilles Jr., your best friends here. So, Vanessa Demopoulos, Angie Hill did the damn thing today too. I don't think Vanessa won, but like, do we look at her and say that she did the damn thing?
What'd you think about Angela's call out?
Angela did the damn thing.
She did the damn thing. Yeah, she did it. You like that? 'Cause not too many people call out Andrade, and with the storyline and Angela Hill winning this fight and looking the best I think she's ever looked in her career. You like that?
I didn't even know she called out Andrade until you just told me. I had no clue.
Oh yeah, she was, and because I think they were like one of the first or so fights, one of the first or so strawweight fights in the UFC after Tough.
Yeah,
and that fight got fight of the night. I think that was the first female maybe fight of the night. Maybe I could be wrong, but it did get fight of the night. Maybe the first strawweight fight of the night. Maybe that's what it was. So and there was I don't know if it was at UFC Houston for a fight night. I think Korean Zombie versus who was it? Dennis Bermudez. But yeah, that'd be cool. I think it's a good fight, and she wants it, and not too many people want to fight Andrade. So yeah,
that is accurate. Not many people call out Jessica Andrade, so I'm down. If she wants that smoke, let's get it. I love that.
Yeah.
That's an Apex main event too, if there ever was one.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah,
that is.
I hate the Apex, and I would love to see Angela fight from a big crowd, see Andrade fight in a big crowd. But if they are going to have Apex events, which they are, that is a great main event. This is true. Super chat from our good friend, Terrence Leverett.
Yeah, shout out Terrence.
If damage is one for scoring, how did
Demopoulos, I'm
Domo
guessing?
not win?
I guess Demopoulos.
I mean,
Is that Demopoulos?
'cause I just didn't think she won.
Yeah.
I just didn't think she won. I mean, I don't think it's like a robbery or anything, but I didn't come out of that fight thinking she won. I was like, I'm not mad that I placed the bet because like I feel like Demo fought for my money as a plus 300 underdog, but I didn't come out of there feeling confident that she won. And I wasn't just like, oh, she definitely was the most damaging fighter. Just a close fight. I thought Ducote landed more. And these are just the kinds of fights that happen at 115 when you're outside the top 15. So, yeah, I think Demopoulos she swings very hard, but she doesn't land all that much. The aesthetics behind what she does offensively just looks better, but she's not like actually as effective as it looks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, she's super busy, but effective is the right thing, right? Like she's not effective all the time, but she is very busy and visually, like it looks good. Now, again, like I feel like MMA has come a long way from the days of like the person on the front foot is winning and like just being busy with like throwing stuff out there wins fights. So I'm not gonna say that the judges were swayed by that necessarily, but I do feel like Ducote was doing like the more effective striking. So this is not like some crazy, terrible decision. I could see a world where, if you're somebody who thought Demopoulos won, that you're saying like, yeah, she clearly won. She did the damage, but I'm okay. Like we'll move on from this one and everything will be fine. It was fine.
Let's see what MMA Decisions had to say. I'm curious.
Yeah, I was kind of
two people scored it for Demopoulos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 scored at 29-28 Ducote. 6 others scored at 30-27 Ducote. So
wow.
12 out of the 14.
What did the fans give it?
Ducote.
With the fan scoring and the low.
Where's fan scoring?
Yeah, good.
Oh, I have to submit my own card.
No, just click results.
Oh, show results. 76.6% for Ducote, 23.4% for Demopoulos.
Right.
So,
yeah, just I guess
Most
Demopoulos her style of fighting is it. The judges like it.
She's won a few of them, man. She's won a few of them.
Yeah. Cool. Not sure what this means. What am I missing?
Thoughts on DaBaby?
Unless I'm mistaken, that's a musical artist, right? Did he do something or?
Yeah.
Is that the rapper at Fury Usyk?
Oh, was he? Oh, I didn't even know who it was. Okay. Was he? Oh, yes.
I don't know.
I know DaBaby was a rapper, but that wasn't him.
I don't know who that is.
Music's not my expertise or my forte, so that would be
not new music. Certainly not new music.
Yeah. So if someone can explain in the comments what that one means, but the gentleman paid $2.99 for it. So
DaBaby is a rapper.
Or is he just asking for general thoughts on DaBaby? Because I don't have any, unfortunately.
So was that him rapping?
No, it wasn't. It was not. It was definitely not.
I don't know. I don't know who that was.
DaBaby's got some songs. He was on SNL a few years back. He's got some questionable. He said some questionable things. But as far as his musical talents, he's whatever. Yeah.
I feel bad. that was a super chat because I got nothing. I got nothing for you.
Just tell us who it is, and we'll go back. And what about DaBaby?
Did he? No,
you don't even have to super chat. Just tell us.
Yeah. All right.
So TBD.
Guys, people super chatting some. All right. Well, super chat. Here
Whatever.
we
go. Who's the least fun fighter, Leon or Belal? I think Leon.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
On the card that is like the most opposite of UFC 304, we get this question. Like Belal just always gets astray on every post-fight show, no matter what.
Well, No, this guy's giving a straight to Leon. Actually, he's elevating Belal
Yeah.
above Leon here. Leon is the least fun. I don't think either guy's really that boring. Like, I don't think either of those guys are what I would fall into the category of boring. Certainly, like, look, don't get me wrong. This is not like the highest heat, like most like guaranteed knockout type fight. But both of those guys are pretty capable strikers, mixed grappling and striking well. Like, Bilal's look really damn good lately. Like, a finish of Sean Brady is nothing to, sneeze at. How Leon's looked in the fights against Kamaru, like, I don't think these guys are that boring. I think, look, they go to decisions, but like, I don't think they're like boring decisions. They're not like just laying and praying. Like, they're standing and striking with people. I'm okay with both of these guys. I like their styles.
Also being fun doesn't win you championships. Mike Perry was a fun welterweight. He wasn't a championship caliber mixed martial artist. I mean, yeah, fun. What does fun mean? Fun doesn't win championships. You gotta win fights. So whatever.
But they're not that bad. They're
not that bad. And it's just
that I'd
overrated.
point to and be like, they go to decision. They definitely go to decision. But like, they're standing and they're fighting.
And they're fighting the best fighters in the world.
Yeah.
They're not just, throw them on the regional circuit. Yeah, they'll knock out some fools, but give them a break.
They're not Mo Usman out there.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're not Carl Williams. Like, it's not that. They're fine. They're fine. Leah, like, if you're on the Bubba O'Reilly video for one of the greatest moments in the history of the sport, you cannot be a part of this question. Sorry.
That's fair. I think that's a fair criteria.
There you go. Oh,
arguably, Leon Leverage is arguably part of the craziest moment in the history of the sport. I'm not ready to plant my flag there, but if you want to tell me that Leon head kicking Kamaru on the brink of defeat in round 5 with a minute left is the craziest moment in the history of the sport, I'll listen to you. I'll certainly listen to you.
Was that
Belal hasn't had that moment yet, but
yeah. Was that in the last minute of the fight, or was it almost the last minute of the fight when he did
it was at the last minute. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I remember the story. Kind of everyone had their tweets. Everyone had like half their articles already written because the fight was already over. Like, okay, I need to just press. Wait for that bell to ring and just press publish. Nope. But yeah.
Kamaru Usman dominates Leon Edwards in rematch. Whoops.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was crazy because Leon had like a great first round in that fight. And we're like, oh shit, like this might happen. Mm-hmm. And then Kamaru just did Kamaru things for the next, 18 minutes and 4 seconds. And then, Usman, with 56 seconds left in the fight, Leon knocked Usman out with the head kick.
What's going on with Kamaru right now? He doesn't have a fight booked, right? Like nothing even on the table.
He's doing his podcast with Henry. That's the new retirement plan.
Can't do it.
No, I'm definitely not doing that. Yeah.
Kamaru, I think Kamaru. I honestly think Kamaru is great in those roles. I would put him on the desk. I would make him a color commentator in the UFC like the moment he retires. But I just can't do it. Oh, man.
Here's the question that might satisfy Fahim here. Would you rather listen to Kamaru and Henry or Leon and Belal do a podcast? Which one?
Ooh. Oh my god.
Wait, say it again.
Kamaru and Henry or Leon and Belal do a podcast?
Oh, I'll go Leon Belal. I would definitely go Leon.
Yeah?
Belal.
All right. There you go.
100%.
Yeah.
Not even a question.
Not even a question. Yeah. Because I know both those Leon Belal are both very interesting, full-rounded people. It's just sometimes when the mic gets in front of them, they kind of, I don't know, just say what they feel they're supposed to say rather than just kind of have fun with it. And that's about it.
Jeez, poor Kamaru and Henry.
Yeah.
It's not even Kamaru. It's Henry. Poor Henry.
It's Henry. It's Henry. Man, we are getting no questions about this card, but
bring him. I don't care.
Yeah.
We knew this would happen.
Yeah.
I'm bummed out about Roundtree facing suspension. Yes. Let me pull it up real quick, just so we have complete context on the situation.
Did you read Mia Yang, his fiance's I think I don't know, she added some more to it too. Basically, with the supplement supplier basically taking the blame. I think I could be
Well,
wrong.
he says in the statement, and I'm sure Mike will get to this, but he says in
Yeah.
the statement that
Oh, sorry.
as soon as he was notified by the supplier that this
Mm-hmm.
thing had happened, he forwarded that to the parties involved. But Mike's got it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Khalil Roundtree sends this out 2 hours ago. Got to deliver the news to you all, but I will not be fighting at UFC 303 due to consuming a banned substance. I did not do this intentionally, doing everything I can to get this situation taken care of. I was using a personalized, tailored supplement service from a company that I trusted, who understood my limitations and what I can and cannot take. They accidentally sent a blended supplement to me that contained banned substance called DHEA, which is prohibited at all times under the UFC anti-doping policy. Only after I consumed it was its ingredients brought to my attention. I immediately contacted Jeff Nowitzki and Donna Marcolini, who's the UFC Vice President of Anti-Doping Compliance, upon receiving that information to inform them of this matter, provided them with all the information to show this is not a matter of cheating or to enhance performance. Although DHEA is a non-performance enhancing, it is a banned substance. Therefore, I am under temporary suspension. My sincerest apologies to you all, and to Jamal for this unfortunate series of events. It's a huge loss and an even bigger lesson. So, yeah, Khalil Roundtree not fighting Jamal Hill at UFC 303 anymore. So, maybe the UFC is going to put a full court press on because Ian Gary had called out MVP, or at least said that he accepted a fight with MVP. Ian had said that MVP's team was basically saying this might not be enough time to cut the weight and make 170 in order to compete on that. MVP comes out yesterday on somebody's podcast and says, no, I said yes. I don't care if it's today, tomorrow, the next week. I will fight that man. So maybe the UFC will put on a little full court press to try to get that fight together. Maybe that'll be the co-main event of UFC 303 if they could pull it off. But it doesn't look like Roundtree and Jamal Hill will be happening. So, and I don't know if Jamal Hill's going to fight at all on that card. Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, as far as Khalil goes, if the information that he's released is true, like unfortunate circumstance, because it sounds like it was an error by the manufacturer of his supplements that he trusted to do that, but certainly like he's taking responsibility for it. So we'll see what that suspension ultimately ends up being, right? Temporary doesn't have a term. So we'll have to find out kind of how long that puts him on the shelf potentially under this new era of doping regulation by the UFC. So we'll see what happens from here. But it sounds like he was forthright with everybody that he needed to be based on what he's saying. And so we'll see what happens from here. So I don't know whether to be like super bummed. Certainly I would have liked to see Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree, but maybe we'll still see that. Like maybe that gets booked for a month later, depending on how long the suspension potentially is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
probably get like 3 months at the most.
Yeah. I'm hoping. At this point, I believe that guys who have been in the sport for this long, when you do pop for things like that, more than not, it's really just because oops, rather than I was trying to get away with something. That's what I feel. I'm being positive about it, I guess. But man, that just sucks for Roundtree. Talk about a big opportunity. Big opportunity.
Huge.
And hoping it's 3 months. Hoping it gets delayed, maybe a couple months. That's about it.
The important thing that he said at the very end is it's a disappointing thing, but it's also a lesson. It's a lesson. Like consuming anything, no matter how curated, no matter by who, is always going to put you at risk. So you need to be responsible for your own supplements, and you need to be responsible for your own thing. Like he says, or at least kind of like hints at the fact that they're taking the blame for it or taking responsibility for it and saying like, we sent him this and here's the proof of that. But that doesn't get you the fight back. Right. So there's a lesson to be learned there. So unfortunate circumstance if it is exactly how he has described it. But hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later, and hopefully it can be against Jamal Hill as well.
All right. I got a super chat from good friend Terrence Leverett.
Yeah.
Carnelossi did milk that injury because she was already hurt, but Rodriguez being
neglectful, right?
Yeah, so I would have done it too. 2 paychecks. I mean, we don't know. Seemed like she was hurt.
Even if she did,
Yeah, doesn't
That's
matter.
a DQ. I don't care. She could milk it as much as she wants. She got headbutted twice, and that's a DQ. I don't care. Even if she popped right back up, I'd be okay if the referee was like, yo, what are you doing? 2 illegal headbutts, you're DQ'd on the spot. Like, I don't think we need to wait for her to recover. We have to wait for her to recover from the perspective that we have to see if this fight can continue. Maybe there's points taken away as opposed to a disqualification, but I would be okay if the ref on the spot DQ'd. Whether she milked it or not, again, I said, like, I don't care to have that type of specific debate, but DQ regardless.
Yeah.
Aaron's bringing hot takes today.
Yeah.
He's been listening to Jed far too long.
Yeah, I watched. I didn't see this live, but I did watch the replay, and I'm kind of in the middle. But if Carnelossi says she can't fight, then that's a DQ. It doesn't matter what it is. I think if obviously it was a point deduction, I think Rodriguez was more just. I like to think of it as more just reckless with her head, because I think with Rick, you talked about. If you're in a grappling situation, you can put your foot on someone's face, but you can't kick their face and say if they're downed. And that's essentially what Rodriguez is. I know she was trying to use that kind of head position, which is we're taught in all grappling is head positions, everything. But you have to control your head, and you are at a level where you should have much more control of your body. So unfortunate, but that's about it. Yeah, and I don't think this is gonna hurt Rodriguez in her UFC career. Like, it's not one of those, like, she didn't bite her opponent.
Not biting.
You're not automatically like you're done. You're done. I think it's just one of those things, and you move on. And it sucks for her. And Carnelossi gets 2 checks. I think we kind of forget about it in a couple weeks.
You can totally have head position. You have to place your head and then move it. And also, she could have struck with her shoulder, right? She's using her head, and she's using it
2. Yeah, the fact that it was like
2 in a row.
You messed up 2 times in a row. Like, one time I get, I don't know, you're tired. I don't know, but 2 times.
If the referee thought it was unintentional and that she was milking it, it could have been a no contest. But the referee decided it was a disqualification because it was intentional, and so I've got no issue. Yeah. I literally don't care what happened after the headbutts. Like, I don't care about how long she took to recover, any of that stuff. Like, after the headbutts, I was good with DQ.
Who's the one that cheats in like every single fight and is still in the UFC? Priscilla Cachoeira. She still has she's fought she went from she tried to rip out like the eyeballs of Jillian Robertson in a fight. Then she tried to like pull somebody's like top down in a fight while she was in a bad position.
The thing with Cachoeira though is she's usually losing, right? She's usually losing and trying to cheat, whereas like she was winning and headbutted her. So it was like a different thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying Pierre is trying to cheat. I'm just saying, to go to Casey's point, in 2 weeks, nobody's going to remember this. The next time Pierre Rodriguez fights, it's not going to matter. After the Jillian Robertson fight, the whole MMA community was like, kick her out of the UFC. The UFC needs to release her. She's cheating. It's so bad. Everybody was coming out and saying it. And then she's had like 7 fights since. And Jed Meshew on a recent post-fight show was like, no, never release her, because she's perfect in this spot, because she either cheats and gives us headlines, or she just gets the shit beat out of her by somebody in like a really fun way. So there's value on the roster for somebody like a Priscilla Cachoeira. So,
and then she wins every once in a while. and she stays around. Yeah. So it's
actually tough, because like Pierre's gone through a lot here. Like, she was booked to fight previously. Her opponent, I don't know if it was a weight miss or something happened, and she got put on this card. Like, as like the, here's what we're going to do. We're going to rebook you quickly so you can get back in there and make some money. And then this is what happens. So it's been kind of a tough 2024 thus far for Piera. Super chat. Brito versus Murphy in Manchester. What do you think? No, can't happen, because Brito's booked against Danny Gay on July 20th. So unless you want to take that away from Brito, who wants the Danny Gay fight and intelligently called for it and got it, sure. But Brito's booked July 20th, which is a week before.
Yeah, that. you don't need to move anybody out of a fight for that.
Yeah, we're fine.
I also think, like, again, we don't know that Murphy's going to be good to go. Like, we really have no idea if he'll be good to go for Manchester.
He was banged up. He was limping around after getting kicked a whole bunch by Edson Barboza. Like, might be Might be a bridge too far, but we'll see.
All right. Super chat from our good friend Achilles Jr.
Oh boy. Let me just take a deep breath. Loser weights can't fight winner weights. Yanez versus Munoz. Gonna do a Bing rip, eat fajitas, and watch the Mavs win now. Yes. Yes. After this, I'm gonna go listen to Cypress Hill's hits from the Bing and go for a jog.
I love our theme of Bing rips. Send that Bing all night.
I'm gonna just address the elephant in the room. The loser weights can't fight winner weights. Who are we talking about here? Like I kind of have a vague idea of what you're referring to, but I think we need some clarity on what exactly you're talking about. Because you've used that loser weight term before, and I forget who you were talking about. Could have been anybody. But need some clarity on that first part. Yanez versus Munoz
might be a little too much. We're just trying to get we're trying to rebuild Yanez here. I mean, you threw him in there with Rob Font, did not go well. Then you threw him in there with Jonathan Martinez, did not go well. We threw him back to get him a win against a flyweight, essentially. Like, this is a setup fight for Yanez to get a knockout, and that's what he got. Do you go right back to Pedro Munoz? I don't know.
Also, if I'm Pedro Munoz, is that the problems I want? Like, I haven't won. He's lost 4 out of his last 5. I don't know if it makes sense for either guy. Like, but it would be a decent name for Yanez to get kind of back. I don't know. I don't hate it. I'll say it this way: I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. It's okay.
Yeah,
I'll be okay with it.
Yeah. I'm a little biased, maybe not, but I would love to see Adrian Yanez versus my teammate Victor Henry. So,
cool.
Damn, that's fun as hell. Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a very tough fight for Victor, but he's a tough dude, and I think Yanez is awesome.
Tough fight for Adrian too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a tough fight for both of them. So, I like it. So that's
a good fight. I like it. Or Victor Henry versus Pedro Munoz. I like that idea as well.
Ooh, are they former? No. They know each other. Yeah, they kind of train in the same circles, but I don't want to see that. I think I like Pedro. I like Pedro. I mean, I like Yanez too, but I think style-wise, whatever. Sorry. Back to our podcast questions or suggestions.
Fahim, oh god, Fahim always brings just the positive takes, just putting everybody over, and I love this.
I'm not familiar with Fahim's game. I'm getting introduced to it this session.
I'd rather watch Carlos Esparza versus Rose title fight on repeat for 2 hours than watch 4 of them in podcast, 1 head kick and 10 hours. What? 10 hours? 10 UFC
years?
Career so far boring?
10 year, like he's saying, like in Leon's 10-year career, there's he's saying it's one moment. Is Leon been in the UFC for 10 years? Maybe. That's
it's a damn good moment.
No, man. Come on, Fahim. Come on. Don't be so mean. Leon, I feel like Leon, man, people really, I feel like the narrative of like, nobody wants to see Leon and Belal has now outsized the actual like Leon and Belal fight. Like, it's a fine fight. It's a good fight. Yeah. Dude, I wouldn't have even had a problem if it headlined UFC 300. Like,
Me neither.
It's honestly, fine. Yeah. It's a fine fight. It's good, and Belal's good, man. Like, people are sleeping on Belal because he kind of rubs people the wrong way. He's a little bit goofy. He's kind of corny. Leon had an aura about him. I don't know where it went. Like, the Colby fight, I think, kind of sucked some of it out. But like, Leon was kind of the man for a while, and now people are turning back on him. I get it. I get it from the perspective that like, this is not the like fight that everybody thinks is going to be amazing calling for, but like, those are 2 really good fighters. I think it's not going to be as bad as everybody is.
It can't be.
This fight stinks thing is like so far beyond what the actual fight could possibly be at its worst. It'll be fine. No. It'll be a good fight.
Yeah. I think Jed, I mean, honestly, like, Jed's being really funny, but I think he's like right on with it. This is the Leafy Greens fight. Like, it's good. It's good for you. It's not, you're not hammering down 2 slices of pepperoni pizza that's just like delicious and they'll fill you up. Like, this is you want to avoid the kale. It's not your first choice, but when you eat it, you feel better. It's just one of those things like you just have to have for longevity in life. That's what this fight is. Okay, it's one of those things that's just gonna you may not be your first choice, but if you have it, you're not gonna be mad at yourself for eating it, and that's what this fight is. And I think that's true.
Also, just consider that like when Leon walks out in Manchester, it's gonna
be awesome.
I was gonna say maybe not, because like I feel like half the crowd's gonna leave after Tom fights, and also like it's gonna be 5 a.m. there, so that might actually be a problem.
Yeah, that's honestly my biggest problem of all of this was that. Maybe Leon and Belal are gonna fight at 6 a.m., which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think it'll be awesome when Leon walks out, but I don't know. Now I'm kind of backtracking.
It's so hard to tell because we're watching a regular evening time, but like unless I guess if we have someone there, it'd be really interesting to have the feel of the crowd. What's the co-main? Oh yeah, the co-main's being Tom,
and
that whole main card is real good. Patty's fighting.
It's great. It's a great card. It's unfortunate for those fans that they're going to be drunk by the time the first fight happens and asleep by the time the fifth fight happens.
I was in the arena for UFC and Fox in Sweden. The main event was a good main event, but it was between Anthony Johnson versus Alex Gustafsson. The problem was they went out like at 4 or 3 in the morning. They stopped serving alcohol, say like 3 hours before that. The co-main event was one of the rematch between Phil Davis and Ryan Bader. Oh. So like it had a whole, two very talented fighters who should never fight each other, because it's just bad. And of course it was just horrible. And then they just sucked all the energy out of the crowd. And then they were there for Alexander Gustafsson, and of course Gustafsson gets knocked out within like I think a couple minutes, but. I can't see Aspinall Blades unless Blades somehow just, Curtis Blades him, I guess, in the worst way for 25 minutes, which I just don't see. But I think we're gonna be fine. I think we're gonna be fine. But I'm just saying that is a situation where like when it's late at night and just the crowd is just not into it. So we'll see.
I would have put Tom as the main event if it was me.
Oh yeah, just
that's what I would.
Real quick, I know just if what if they just did it like they should have done maybe, and just done Leon versus Belal, UFC 300, 301, Pereira versus Hill, and then Manchester Aspinall Blades. It was right there, great. And I think we'd have been fine. But I get it. Now we're here.
I don't get it. Well, I think it was stupid.
I do think it's stupid too, but yeah.
No, I think UFC 300 was perfect, and we don't need to change it at all.
You're just happy you were.
I'm gonna be on another video after that one. Yes. My bad.
I'm kind of disappointed. I gotta say I'm kind of let down. I haven't been in any of those videos yet. I don't know. I'm not.
You gotta spit some hot fire. You gotta. Actually, you don't. You have to do the opposite. You have to say something really nice, and then they're gonna cut a little middle portion out of it and pretend that you said something bad, and then they'll use that. So just keep being nice.
Yeah.
You have to do the compliment sandwich. You have to say something good, but for real, this is like kind of how I feel. But yes, they did a great job. You have to do that compliment sandwich. They just cut the shit out of it and put it in the clip. They do with
These are the ways, Casey. These are the ways.
Thank you.
RS75 AC. Chaos versus Euros Medic. Murphy versus Brito in London. Did he just not say Murphy versus Brito in London already? Brito was fighting Dan Ige. Just did this.
I love that he tried to get it in again. Was it the same one? Because it looked like the same username. That's hilarious.
It has to be.
I love that he tried to sneak it back in there.
It's so good, but he just changed the city. He went from Manchester to London to try to throw it off. When did they go into London? That's what I want to know. Maybe he's just setting up a next year fight for when the UFC goes to London. I'll give you
Chaos
that.
versus Uros Medic.
Same person. Yeah, same person.
Chaos versus Uros Medic though is kind of a sick fight. I'm down for that. I like that.
think it's
Is
fine.
match?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, you got to win. I don't think he's been rebooked
booked
yet.
No, not yet. Yeah, maybe. Sure.
All right. We got.
I can't wait for it. Murphy versus Brito in Birmingham.
We got Murphy versus Bird is the fight I have to see now for some reason. I don't know why. I got to see it. I don't know why. We got a follow-up super chat from our great friend Achilles Jr.
Oh boy. Rick, you're the loser. Wait, Mike, Casey, and myself are considering.
I like this Achilles Jr. I like this guy. I like this.
I mean,
Okay.
he's consistent.
I'm gonna acknowledge this. I'm gonna say, okay, I accept your classifications, even though I think they're stupid. Who though? Like, you've just named 3 people. I'm fighting all of them. I'm fighting one of them. Like, who's the fight? And hopefully you say you, because me and you, this showdown is coming at some point. This is gonna happen. Me and you, Achilles Jr.
Is this the Lerone Murphy, Joe Anderson Brito of MMA fighting?
Jackman versus Achilles Jr.
And Jed versus Senor Pepe, I think. That's the other one. Jed and Senor Pepe.
UFC Fight Night Nottingham. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Jet and Cross.
Cross. It's Cross. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've only been around for the Pepe era. I don't know about this. Okay.
Yeah. Cross is
special. Cross has takes.
All right.
Incredible takes.
Wait, let me check on the NBA. Hold on, let me check the status. Dallas is up with 2.5 seconds, so I guess he's going to get his win. Congratulations, Achilles Jr. You deserve it.
Up by how many?
For doing nothing. They're up by 1 with 2.5.
Do they have the ball?
Let's see.
Oh, heartbreak live on
I
the
don't
show.
know. I'm gonna assume not, but I don't know. Let me see. Play by play.
Oh, it'd be incredible.
No. The Thunder had the ball, but I think it's final now. Yeah, it's final. Dallas wins. Congratulations, Achilles Jr. You deserve it. You earned it. You worked really hard and got that W. So congratulations to you.
All right. I'm reluctantly putting this on the screen. I don't.
Damn, Chase.
I
ain't even gonna read that for the podcast listeners. That's just mean.
Right, Chase.
That's a video exclusive.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
All right, now we'll go to Michael.
The people on the podcast are gonna be dying to know what this was. They're gonna have to look it up.
Dang, Chase. All right.
Damn, Chase.
Wow.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Harsh.
But I appreciate you, Mike, not putting that juju out there.
Michael, I think everyone is massively sleeping on Blades. You might not be wrong.
He looked decent for the few minutes of action we got in the first fight. And I think Blades is kind of underrated. Like, a lot of people were expecting Jailton Almeida to just completely bury him, and he put an end to that real quick. Yeah. I think Blades is really good. I will say, without sleeping on Blades, because I believe in Blades, I think Blades is a really good heavyweight. I that much more believe in Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall is probably the best heavyweight and the future champion. So I would pick Tom to win, but I don't think this is a situation where he just goes in and walks over Curtis Blades. The problem for Curtis is that this is not a great style matchup for him because the grappling is going to be a little bit difficult, right? Tom is a really good, well-rounded kind of fighter. And on the feet, if you get into a firefight with Tom, he's going to find the chin the same way many people have done on Curtis Blades before. Curtis is going to need a really, really good game plan, and to be the aggressor, he's going to need to be the one throwing and not just waiting for Tom to act. And if he's aggressive, he can win this fight. He can definitely win this fight. So I'm not sleeping on Blades personally. I think he's really good, but I do believe Tom is better.
Yeah, Blades is he can absolutely win this fight. It will be tough for him to win this fight. For Blades, to me, for those big hands that hurt Tom, he will have to establish something with the grappling. Like if it's just a strip,
that's how he wins.
But he has to get a dominant round, a dominant couple minutes on the ground where like Tom's like, oh crap, if I get my back if Curtis Blades gets the top of me, I'm in bad shape. Then Curtis's hands get really dangerous. The problem with Tom Aspinall, he's just a great striker and a great grappler and he's just really good. Tom Aspinall has not shown any weaknesses yet, except for an
he's good
ACL.
everywhere. Yeah, he's good everywhere. This is going to be a tough fight, but it's winnable. It is winnable for both sides. Yeah. That's what's intriguing about it. I like this matchup a lot better than I like Gane versus Aspinall, if I'm being honest.
Absolutely.
Like, I think Tom would walk through Cyril Gane. Like, I don't think that's a competitive fight.
And I just don't like Gane coming off a very one-sided loss to another title fight. Has he fought since? Am I forgetting something?
He beat Sergey Spivak.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them.
I kind of forgot that, but that's
and then did the thing where you bungle the mic work and you get nothing.
Spivak wasn't a high enough.
He was about to get Tom Aspinall in Manchester for a title, but I mean,
because I think we know why. You know what I mean? Because I think they feel the same way you guys probably do about that fight, that Tom's just going to go in there and win and send the people home happy because it's like a really good stylistic matchup for him. But Cyril just like did himself no favors after that win. No, I'm just going to wait for a title shot. When he could have just said, I'll fight you, Sergey Pavlovich. You're the guy. And then he probably would have got the interim title fight. He could be the interim freaking heavyweight champion right now if he just did that. But no, didn't want to call anybody out. Kind of avoided Tom Aspinall, who went to Paris just to go there to get into the cage with him. And Sierra's like,
I'm not big on
that right
call-outs.
there is the key. Yeah. That right there is the key. It wasn't just that he didn't call anybody out. He also actively tried to pretend that Tom Aspinall was not the dude, and it was a
double. Yeah.
And then he went on the MMA Hour and did the same thing and just like dismissed Tom Aspinall as like a serious competitor until Tom won the title. And then it's like, all right, we'll fight now. And Tom's just like, why would I fight you now? Because I have the belt. I mean, I will fight you, but I don't really want to, which I completely agreed with. So Blades is really good. We'll see what happens.
This trio right here is not sleeping on Blades, and it sounds like you're not either. We all think he's got a fight on his hands.
Sure. Terrence, last question from me since I'm channeling Jed. This is great. As a John Jones fan, Rick, how can you defend his ex comment defending the Stipe fight? He is getting cooked.
Yeah, so for anybody listening or not aware, I'm assuming this is the one that Terrence is talking about because he's been tweeting like the last couple of days to week about this fight. But earlier today, he said that he and Stipe Miocic have 20 title fights or title fight wins, and Tom and Curtis have 0. How could they be fighting for the real belt? And he said he didn't count his interim title win, so that Tom's interim title win doesn't count. He's kind of making it fair and leveling the playing field. And the answer for how can I defend his ex-comment is I don't need to. The math speaks for itself, my friend. John Jones and Stipe Miocic have combined for 20 title fight victories. And that's it right there. You can't say that belt ain't real because the belt is wrapped around old Johnny Boy's waist and nobody except the UFC can take it from him. Or Stipe when they eventually fight, if they eventually fight, if that ever happens. The math speaks for itself, Terrence. I got nothing to defend. Like, these are just cold hard facts that you're just gonna have to face from John Jones. There's nobody over here clucking and saying that kind of nonsense about the GOAT. The GOAT does what the GOAT wants. That's all I got to say.
All right.
I mean, the more he does this, it's tremendously funny.
It's funnier, I will say,
the longer it goes, I enjoy it more and more.
It feels to me, and maybe I'm giving too much credit, it feels to me like John Jones knows that Tom Aspinall is going to be the fight that's there, right? Like he by trying to pour the water onto the fire, it's actually stoking the flames of Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. Maybe intentional, maybe not, but I do think he recognizes like there's enough of a support around Tom Aspinall that by continuing to say like, nah, he's not the guy, he might more become the guy. There will be more people saying he's the guy. And I'm just going to take that interpretation and hope that it's true. I know John is also a very sensitive human being and probably just doesn't like people talking to him about Tom Aspinall. But maybe both things are true. But it is only serving to amplify a Tom versus John fight. It is making fans desire it the more. The more John Jones shuts it down, the more people are going to say you're ducking and you're not giving Tom. And so ultimately, it may turn into the big money fight that he said. His whole thing has always been for legacy and for money. Stipe is my biggest fight, and there's kind of an argument to it. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but there's kind of an argument to it, right?
True.
He's the best heavyweight. He's the best heavyweight that the UFC's had. He's possibly one of the best heavyweights ever. And so that fight has something to it, at least. I will acknowledge that from John's perspective. I think Tom is a more interesting fight. I think that does more for your legacy potentially. But that fight monetarily, if Tom is able to walk through Curtis Blades, let's say best case scenario, Tom just absolutely smashes Curtis Blades. If we look at the end of the year to MSG in November and Tom and Stipe happens, now you've got Tom sitting there as a viable pay-per-view draw, as a guy who's really legitimate and could really give John some problems. I think the UFC would be willing to pay for that, and I think the fans would be willing to see it. If for some reason Stipe can't make it to fight night in November, if Tom gets the same thing done that I'm expecting that he might be able to get done in July, all of a sudden John Jones can't say it's Stipe now. There is no fight with Stipe anymore because he's pinning himself to one specific fight. He is saying it has to be Stipe Miocic or not.
Pereira too.
Sudden, yeah, he's making that case, but I think the one who will ultimately get a fight if Stipe falls off is probably Tom if he does what he needs to do. But either way, John's setting himself up for a collision course with Tom, even if that is not his intent. That is the fight that people are going to be clamoring for, and even more so. It's almost like the Cody stuff with wrestling. Like, making you wait is actually going to end up paying dividends. Now, I know everybody wants it right now. I know everybody's like, I need it. Tom versus John. Trust me, waiting for it will pay. You will get a bigger fight, and it will feel massive. So, I don't know. I hope it happens.
Let me ask you both this. If only one of these fights could be made in 2024, what would you rather see? Casey, I'll ask you first. John Jones versus Tom Aspinall or John Jones versus Francis Ngannou?
Oh, you jerk. Taking away all the politics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if we were guaranteed one, but we can't have both, what would you pick?
I'm gonna go Aspinall. Just because Francis has kind of chosen his new path, and good for him. And obviously, he's going through his own things right now. But taking that out of the equation, I think Francis has chosen his own path. Aspinall is still on this UFC path for heavyweight gold. So I give it to John versus Aspinall for sure.
All right. So Rick, let's just say His Excellency Turkey has the power to put either of these fights together. He could do it. Dana's in. We're all good. Whatever Turkey wants to do, we're going to do it. What are you picking? Aspinall or Francis?
Who am I in this scenario? Just me? I'm the person, or am I John Jones?
This is for you.
Just for me? It's Tom. It's definitely Tom, because I think what would inevitably happen with Francis is people would dismiss, if John Jones won that fight, people would dismiss and say Francis was worn and the AJ knockout never recovered. There would be lots of explanations for why John won and to try to discredit that win. With Tom, there's not, like, it just doesn't exist, right? He's going to be fighting a guy who's in his absolute prime, who's a killer. And so I think it would do more for John's resume. It's on paper a fight I would rather see. But I will say this, as the world's foremost John Jones defender and fan, I actually think at the time that they were talking about Francis Ngannou versus John Jones, if they did it, I think Francis would have won that fight. And I say that as number one John stan in the entire universe. The Francis who beat Stipe in the rematch, if you don't have the power to stop him from walking towards you, you're cooked. You're done, and that's it. Like, there wasn't a heavyweight on earth who would have beaten that guy in MMA before he went over to boxing. Now, he's got some years on him, right? Because he had to sit out that full year. He had the knee surgery. He's just a different human. Now he suffered a personal loss, and our hearts and and everything go out to him. Obviously, condolences to him and his family, but like he's just a completely different human. He's sitting on so much more money. It's all changed for Francis. That one though, I would have picked against John.
Hey, Esther, look at your phone.
So I would have picked that version of Francis. This version, I'm not as interested. As I said, like it's just different guys at different times. Tom, I want desperately.
Nah, it's so queer.
We got big business for Esther.
We're all there. We're all there. We're all there for Tom Aspinall.
Yeah,
which is wild to think about.
All right.
We anything else?
Yeah, we have a few more.
Jay's still throwing more, just throwing baseballs at Belal Muhammad here, just chucking them.
I'll say this. Mike, you want to read it before I?
Yeah, a Belal fight at 5 a.m. is more effective than Ambien. Okay, I'll read that over.
Yeah,
wishing personal and physical harm to the man.
Anybody fighting at 5 a.m. is Ambien. Like that's just not a suitable fight time. That's just silly. It is legitimately stupid.
Like nothing good happens at 5 a.m. And a cage fight is just nothing good.
I mean, watching a Justin Gaethje fight at 5 a.m. will hit differently.
The whole point of this sport is we're in it, and especially as this pertains to the UFC, is we want the best fighters to compete under the best circumstances and everybody to be 100% healthy and active and ready and to give us our best fight. And we're basically handicapping that on purpose, saying, no, we're going to do it at a time that nobody wants to be up in any circumstance. Everybody is asleep at this time. Even the people that get up for the graveyard shift are waking up after this. And we're going to put you in a cage and have you throwing fists at each other. So good luck to you. I hate it. I hate it so much.
And you're hampering Leon and Tom more than anybody else. Because they have to change everything about them. Like it doesn't, like Leon and Curtis will have to travel over there and deal with that. But that's their clock. Like they're fighting on their time.
Belal and Curtis,
Belal and Curtis, and then Leon and Tom have to do something completely different. They have to script their entire clock. Like maybe even go to the United States and just get on their time and then fly back home on fight week. Like it just seems so. Well,
you always hear the fighters who are like, yeah, I stayed on this time, right, to get ready for the fight. And it's just like, I don't want them doing that. That is not what I want out of my premium elite cage fighters. I want them to fight at a regular time and not have to be like,
Tom to wake up at 3 a.m. to go prepare for a fight.
A month I did sparring at 3 a.m. What? What are we talking about? I don't want this. Who wants this? Nobody wants this. Maybe ESPN wants this. That's the only one I can think of that wants this. I don't want this.
You got to think of the shareholders. The shareholders.
Yes.
What about the people dropping $80? Like, if you think any of us are going to care if they start that main card at 3 p.m. Eastern? No one's going to care. We're going to be like, hell yeah, let's go. 3 p.m. Eastern. That means we're done with all the fighting at 7 p.m. We can have a Saturday night to go out and do stuff. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. But no, can't get it.
All right. A few more super chats.
Fahim. Okay. Positive side. Taira too early for main event. No, I don't think it's too early for Tetsuro Taira.
Remind me. I know this just got booked. Remind me who he's fighting.
Alex Perez.
He's fighting Alex Perez, June 15th. 5 rounds at where else? The world's most famous Apex. By the way, 10 p.m. Eastern main card for that Apex card. So get excited for that. But man, Tetsuro Taira is supposed to fight Tim Elliott. Fight no longer happening. So they moved Tetsuro Taira to UFC 302. He's going to fight Josh Van at UFC 302. And Alex Perez is going to fight Tagir Ulanbekov on June 15th. And earlier this week, the UFC just swapped them both up. And they put Tetsuro Taira against Alex Perez. And then on the same card, Josh Van will fight Ulanbekov on June 15th. So neither of those fights are going to fight at UFC 302. So I'll ask you, New York Rick, do you feel like this is too early for young Tetsuro Taira to be in a main event?
No, that dude's a savage. I think this is awesome. I think this is exactly what he needs, and I think this is exactly what flyweight needs. So, yeah, love this. No problems with it at all.
Completely agree.
I like this. I just find it very weird how the UFC decided to do this, because I've been kind of like, I've been really interested how they've been building up Tyra in the sense that he's been on like the early prelims versus I would say the bottom tier of flyweights. He is 5-0 in the UFC, and none of the flyweights he's beaten have been top 15 guys yet. And to go from that to Alex Perez, that's kind of a surprise. But I think Tyra's worthy of it. I'm just surprised. Like, the Tim Elliott one made sense in the way they were building him up. I thought there was a system to it, but I guess not. Like, all right, now boom, main event. It's just different.
Let me tell you one thing that might help paint the picture why this should not be surprising. Alexandre Pantoja just fought Steve Erceg as the headliner of a pay-per-view, and they need flyweight title contenders, and Tatsuro Taira has the makings of a flyweight title contender. And so here he comes. It's time. Your number just got called because we can't count on Manel Kopp to get to a fight, and because Muhammad Makayev is kind of, to steal a word from before, ambient. Like, his fights are not the most exciting fights. And so now it's time because you look like you're ready. So they just need bodies because Pantoja seems to just keep carving through them. Mm-hmm. So they need him. They just need him. And also,
absolutely
he's good enough.
That's pretty.
He's good enough.
He is good enough. I'm just kind of more surprised.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
The build is advanced. But think about Steve Erceg. He went from 3 not really like known guys to fighting Alexandre Pantoja. This is just flyweight at this point. They got spots to fill for that title, and if as long as Pantoja's holding it and he's already really wrecked like most of the top contenders, it has to happen.
All right.
I think Tyra's gonna be the back. Yeah, I think Tyra's like, if he goes out there and busts up Alex Perez, he's gonna be the, hey, come to Manchester, we might need you guy in case like Kopp misses weight or something weird happens. Yeah. That's got to be a number 1 contender fight. So if someone can't go, maybe they bring Tyra in as the backup, and then he could fight to be the number 1 contender. So,
yep. Yeah. All right.
Gustavo, Gatto first breast shot TKO in UFC history.
Yes.
Think so. We're not the official statisticians of the breast shots, but I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to check out ESPN stats and info for that for that answer. But yeah, that was
Casey made a great point. I would have liked to hear from her. Like, what, describe that. Like, what happened there? Because it's not like she was in the cage
out, right? And just she's right there, and it's not like a head. It's not like a concussion type TKO. So just talk to her. She's right there. But we never got like a clear answer. I didn't know if like maybe she had a previous injury. We mentioned off camera there was a fight a few years back between Angela Hill and what was her name? I'm sorry,
Stephanie Egging.
Stephanie Egging, and Stephanie Egging had recently had a child, so she was still lactating when, and Angela Hill punched her in the breast, sorry, and it just hurt her a lot, and she essentially, it wasn't a straight TKO, but she essentially turned from like, oh my god, that hurt a lot, and then Angela Hill got a TKO from that. So I thought, but this doesn't seem to be the same situation. So I'm just curious, I'm just like, what happened? Like, was it a previous injury? Was it just maybe she had a broken rib coming into the fight? We don't know. Just odd.
Interesting. Yeah, it was a weird ending, that's for sure.
But I thought it was so weird too. Felder was just interviewing Melissa Gatto, but as if it was just a normal knockout victory. Like, that was what I was saying. That was weird.
Yes, Paul, it was.
It's almost one of those situations though. Like, what's she gonna say about it, right? She's like, I punched her in the chest and she folded. I don't know. Like, it's probably never happened to her in training either. Yeah. So it's a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just a sensitive area and hurts. But because of the fact that we've seen it so infrequently, I would have liked to hear from her and just been like, oh yeah, like I was hurt, or it's just too sensitive. I don't know. I would have liked to hear from her.
Yeah. And two more super chats.
KO 3000, Cash BKFC, Bellator, UFC, and boxing. Will be tweeting my tickets to
Oh.
GC tomorrow. Nice job, KO 3000.
My man. You know what? Do me a favor. Tweet it to me and GC. Just for safety, just for safekeeping. I want to keep an eye on it. I'll know that you wrote this, and send it to both of us.
Yes. BKFC Omaha. You bet on that. Like I hella respect, man. Hella respect.
And
I was gonna say maybe it was Knucklemania, but that was a while ago, right? What was that? 2 weeks ago, maybe?
Yeah. They just had an event this weekend. One of the
Last
smaller
night,
events.
yeah.
Omaha.
I don't even know. I have no idea who headlined it. No clue.
I saw some photos online, but yeah, people busted up, but I'm not sure who it was.
Yeah,
too.
2 weeks ago was Mohegan. That was Jimmy Rivera, Daniel Strauss.
Oh, that's right.
Last
That's
week
right.
was like a fight. It was like a BKFC fight night
Basically
event
fight
in
nights.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Man, just credit to BKFC. I mean, they have their big events, which kind of the whole combat world will pay attention to. But then in between, they're still doing their thing, and they're in the groove. They have a fan base that's following bare knuckle fighting. I think that's really awesome.
Dude,
And they just added Conor McGregor. That's pretty significant.
They're so fun to go to too. Like
They
I'm
are.
telling you, like go to a BKFC card, you will have a freaking great time. It's
fun.
a circus in the best possible way.
This is true. And where are we at? Okay, yeah. Our last question. Oh, real quick, last super chat.
Tap like chicken. Do we witness Edson's last main event?
I hope so.
Yeah,
And not from the perspective that I don't think Edson's a good fighter, but like I just want to see him fight 3 rounds. Like I don't think there's like he's not fighting for a championship. There's no reason to be like in 5-round fights. It's just not important. So yeah, I hope so, but not because I don't think Edson Barboza is a good fighter. Like Alex Caceres fight could be a co-main on a fight night. That'd be really fun. No problem with that. Like that's great. That's a perfect lane for him. So I'm saying I hope so, just because like I don't need to see him in 5-round fights anymore. We're not competing for championships. We're not building up to that. Like no need.
And what we saw tonight is Edson still is very tough, and being very tough can be very dangerous for your brain, especially over 25 minutes. And he does significant weight cuts to make 45, so no reason to do 25 minutes for Edson. So, and we still get to see him, as on the card. Yeah, we're not retiring him, but we may be retiring him from main events.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, I'd be down for Edson Barboza versus Tony Ferguson too.
Ooh.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Do that.
That was
Their first fight was freaking fun as hell.
And that fight kind of
violent
changed their career trajectory of Tony Ferguson too. Like once he won that fight, it was like the crazy bloody Tony Ferguson kind of like, oh man, if you're gonna fight Tony Ferguson, you better be prepared to get some stitches,
Tony Ferguson versus Edson Barboza, 170 pounds. Nobody needs to cut weight. Perfect fight. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The 170, I like that. I like adding
that's
that.
even better.
That's the
I like
fight.
adding that. Yeah,
It's so much better.
Just stay healthy, guys, dude. No,
Just be healthy.
Like
go to war and
Yeah.
watch it. Co-main event on a decent card.
I really wish UFC did that more. Guys who are kind of, when they're out of the championship run, they're out of the top 10, and we know they can make weight, but why? Just come in, look like, dude. I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the difference between a 55 version and a 70 version of Edson. They look the same.
Here's the big problem with that. I actually think the UFC would be willing to go along with that. I actually think it's often the fighter who doesn't know that they're not in the championship hunt anymore, who thinks they're still competing at lightweight and go on a run.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I love when it's like, hey, we're actually both not 155 pounds. We're probably closer to 170. Let's just fight at 170. I like those type of fights, but I think it's probably the fighters most of the time that it just like it hasn't hit them yet that it ain't gonna happen for the championship anymore.
And our last super chat, our last comment, a bit of positivity from our good friend Achilles Jr.
Oh,
Good night, guys. Appreciate all of you. Let's go 302.
I like
Look
this.
at that, New York Rick. That was for you too.
I like this. Yeah, killers coming through. You know what it is? I think he's probably had a little too many big hits, and he watched the Mavs win, and he's he's happy. He's real happy right now. But shout out to you, Achilles Jr. Consistently in here. No matter how you feel about me, I only have love for you. So good night. That was a very nice message. Thank you for that.
Yes, and he brings up a great point, everybody. There is no UFC card next week. The next UFC event is UFC 302, which includes Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, 5-round co-main event, and then the main event, Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion of the world, taking on Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier's last chance to become a UFC world champion. And what a freaking story it would be if the Diamond can pull it off. Boy, is that going to be a tough hill to climb, because Islam is the best fighter on the planet right now. But what scenes it could be in Newark, New Jersey if Dustin freaking Poirier becomes the lightweight champion of the world. But that's the next sort of fight week craziness that we're going to discuss. AK and I will be around tomorrow. We'll do some matchmaking for this event. We'll do another Otno next week as well. It's going to be a Q&A edition, so we'll give you more details on that tomorrow as well. And then the road to 302 is officially on. So thank you all very much. For Casey, for New York Rick, once again, I am Mike Heck. Have a great rest of your weekend. We're out of here.